When people hear the phrase retirement plan, they usually imagine something complicated. Stocks, 401ks, financial advisors, large investments, years of saving before anything meaningful happens. What they usually do not imagine is a simple $10 per month online business. And yet, sometimes the biggest financial mistakes people make come from ignoring small opportunities simply because they look too small at the beginning. Because the truth is, most long-term wealth is not built in giant dramatic moments. It is built slowly, quietly, consistently, over time. And that is exactly why some people are beginning to look at the GDI Smart Rotator, the co-op network, and the GDI system in a completely different way. Not as a get-rich-quick scheme, but as a long-term digital asset they can slowly build month after month. Why most people never build anything long-term. Most people spend years trapped in survival mode, working, paying bills, starting over every month, and because life feels expensive, people often believe they need huge amounts of money to build a better future. But ironically, some of the most meaningful financial changes begin with very small decisions, repeated consistently over long periods of time. That is what makes the $10 GDI Foundation interesting. It is small enough that most people can start without major financial pressure. But it also operates on a recurring model, which means active members can focus on building something that potentially grows over time instead of constantly chasing one-time transactions. A $10 decision may not look powerful today, but when it is connected to a system, duplication, teamwork, and consistency, it can become much more meaningful over time. The problem with building online alone. One reason many people fail online is not because they are lazy. It is because they are isolated. Most systems expect you to recruit endlessly, buy expensive ads, compete against everyone, figure everything out alone, and build pages, funnels, traffic, and follow-up from scratch. Eventually, people burn out. That is where the Smart Rotator and Co-op Network create a different experience. Instead of every person operating independently, the system introduces structured placements, shared momentum, co-op traffic, long-term positioning, community participation, and simple duplication. No, this does not guarantee success, but it creates something most online systems are missing, a feeling that you are not building completely alone. And psychologically, that changes everything. The mathematics of the power of 5. The beauty of this plan is that you do not need to be a master salesperson. You do not need to personally recruit hundreds or thousands of people. The real idea is duplication. You only need to start by finding 5 like-minded people who also want to diversify their future with a simple $10 per month digital business. When those 5 people each do the same and the process continues, the numbers can become surprisingly powerful. This is the idea behind the 5x5 duplication model. Level 1, 5 people equals $5 per month. Half of your monthly GDI cost is covered. Level 2, 25 people equals $25 per month. Your business is now paying for itself. Level 3, 125 people equals $125 per month. Small monthly bills can start disappearing. Level 4, 625 people equals $625 per month. This can become meaningful monthly extra income. Level 5, 3,125 people equals $3,125 per month. This is where the numbers can become serious. By the time a structure reaches level 5, the total monthly payout across all 5 levels can approach nearly $4,000 per month, depending on active members and the compensation structure. That is why duplication matters. But here is the important part. The math is simple. The real challenge is helping people duplicate. Anyone can draw numbers on paper. The question is, how do you help new people plug into the same process, share the same message, and build with the same system? That is exactly where the GDI Smart Rotator becomes important. Why the Smart Rotator makes duplication easier. Most people do not fail because they cannot understand GDI. They fail because they do not know what to do next. They join, they get a referral link, they post it once or twice, then they stop. The GDI Smart Rotator was created to make the next step easier. Instead of giving new members only a raw referral link, the system gives them a simple way to plug into a ready-made marketing process. The Smart Rotator helps with sponsor tracking, customized pages, structured placements, traffic rotation, team momentum, and easier duplication. When someone joins, they can receive their own customized version of the website. That means they do not need to create a landing page from scratch. They do not need to write all the marketing copy. They do not need to explain the entire system alone. They can simply share the same system and help the next person do the same. That is how duplication becomes more realistic. Not automatic, not guaranteed, but much simpler. Why the 15th starts becoming important. Inside the GDI community, many members become familiar with the idea of income day around the 15th of each month. That is when recurring commissions are often processed. For some people, the numbers start very small, sometimes extremely small. But over time, something interesting happens. The monthly cycle begins changing how they think about the future, because recurring income feels different than one-time income. It feels more stable, more repeatable, more real. And slowly, month after month, people begin understanding the power of consistency. The 15th is not just a date. It becomes a reminder that small recurring actions can create a different kind of financial rhythm. Comparison: GDI versus traditional investing. To create $3,000 per month from traditional investments, you usually need a very large amount of money already working for you. For example, $3,000 per month equals $36,000 per year. If someone tried to generate $36,000 per year from dividends or yield at around 4% annually, they would need roughly $900,000 invested. For the average person, saving nearly $1 million can feel impossible. That does not mean traditional investing is bad. It simply means that most people never start because the number feels too far away. GDI works differently. To start building with GDI, you do not need $900,000. You need a $10 monthly subscription, a simple business foundation, a proven system like the GDI Smart Rotator, the patience to let the network duplicate, and the willingness to stay active and consistent. One path usually requires large capital first. The other begins with the price of a lunch and the decision to start building. Again, this is not a guarantee of income, but it does show why a low-cost, recurring business model can be attractive to people who want to start small instead of waiting forever. A retirement plan does not need to look traditional. Nobody is saying a $10 online business replaces professional financial planning. That is not the point. The point is that many people have no additional plan at all, no side income, no digital asset, no recurring business model, nothing building in the background, and that is risky too. The Smart Rotator and Co-op Network appeal to people because they create the possibility of slowly building something alongside normal life. Not overnight, not magically, but gradually. A real retirement plan may include many things: savings, investments, skills, assets, income streams. The $10 GDI Foundation can be one small part of that bigger picture. And for some people, it may be the first step toward thinking differently about money. Small decisions compound over time. Think about how many people spend money every month on things that never produce anything long-term. Streaming services, impulse purchases, entertainment subscriptions, fast food, coffee. Things we forget about almost immediately. Most of it disappears. But every once in a while, a small recurring investment begins creating momentum instead of consumption. That is why some members describe this as a $10 retirement plan. Not because it guarantees retirement, but because it represents consistency, ownership, recurring activity, teamwork, long-term thinking, and the decision to build instead of only consume. And those things become surprisingly powerful when enough time passes. The co-op changes the emotional experience. The co-op network is one of the most interesting parts of the system because it changes the feeling of building online. Instead of saying, "I hope I can survive this alone," the feeling becomes, "We are creating momentum together." Members share traffic. Members participate together. Members help create exposure across the network. That does not remove the need for personal effort, but it does create a different environment. And in today's world, that sense of community matters more than ever. The co-op is not just about traffic. It is about activity, participation, momentum, and the feeling that you are part of something bigger than your own link. The biggest mistake people make. Most people wait for certainty before taking action, but certainty rarely comes first. Usually what comes first is curiosity, a small decision, a leap of faith on yourself, and enough patience to let something grow. Nobody knows exactly where a journey will lead, but sometimes the most important thing is simply starting before years disappear. 5 years will pass anyway. The question is, will you still be starting over? Or will you have something small, active, and growing in the background? Final thoughts. Maybe the Smart Rotator and Co-op network are not for everyone, but maybe that is okay. Because for some people, this is not about hype or overnight success. It is about finally building something slowly instead of constantly starting over. A simple $10 foundation, a recurring model, a smart rotator system, a co-op network, a community building together, and the possibility that one small decision today could quietly change your future years from now. Not guaranteed, but possible, and sometimes possibility is enough reason to begin. Want to build your GDI team faster? Discover how the free Smart Rotator and traffic sharing network help members create more exposure, better duplication, and stronger team growth. Start your free trial today and plug into the system. $0 today, 7-day free trial, Smart Rotator included.